Alright, so this is the reflection on the remediation project, and I'm not going to lie, I'm doing this one completely off script, so hold on to your hats. Alright, first prompt question here. What was the primary goal in creating this project, and how did that affect my choice of medium or genre? Well, my primary goal originally was just to put the paper that I wrote on Dark Knight Returns into a new format, and I chose video because I have a web camera, and unfortunately that one messed up, so I'm using a roommate's for this. But as I was working on it, it developed into the little how-to videos I made, and that really, me wanting to make them into these tutorial things, or almost review, kind of combination review tutorials, kind of affected the genre into the whole how-to authoritative statement of, hey, try this. So yeah, I guess that kind of answers that one. How does my remediation comment on or replace or reproduce the original media my text was composed in? Well, it was completely based off of the writing I did for my graphic novels class. All the examples I used from, Dark Knight Returns were in the paper. Well, with the exception of a few pages that I just flipped to. But the paper discussed all the topics I discussed. The gutters and bleeds, and how they're used. That was all in the paper. But the tone of saying it, as instead of saying, hey, this is what Miller did, this is why Miller did it, this is indicative of something cool in this comic, or this is an interesting technique he used, I decided to say, hey, how about if this was some sort of how-to video, if we're doing it that way, how can I say this in a way that is helpful to an up-and-coming comic book artist? And I basically took the arguments I made in the paper and turned them into more authoritative statements about, hey, if you do it this way, it can do this, so try it out, see if it works for you. How does my remediation draw attention to the reality of the media in which it's reproduced? Well, my paper was a paper which is kind of static, whereas with this, hey, I can move. But on a more serious note, well, much as I like to joke about it, it really is me. I could sit here and drink a beer and do this thing, but it's a more personal touch, and you can see the real person behind it. It's not a clinical academic paper. How does the remediation affect our sense of the reality of the original text? Well, I mean the book's the book, so that's something to say for it. But I don't know. It shows how the arguments I made in the original paper can be applied to everyday, well, not really everyday life, but can be applied to writing a comic. I guess that also, well, I guess that's about it. How does your remediation improve or make better the original text? Well, again, it makes it live. I mean, I don't mind writing academic texts, but there's something very clinical and cold about them that you don't get any kind of personal touch. And when I did these videos, I felt like, hey, this is alive, this is something real, and that's kind of the reason I threw in the ending things of, I'll post my email, send in any comments you got, and I'll maybe try and respond to them in a later video. Because I figure, hey, if somebody sees this and they want to know something, or they want to, start up a correspondence or something, I'm open to that. I mean, it really helps in that this medium, I suppose, video on the internet allows me to be a little bit more fast and loose with it, but also be able to respond to things. Whereas with the paper, I handed it in, got a grade, and that was it. What are the limitations of your remediation in relation to the original text? I'll be honest, I didn't really feel any limitations as far as that goes. I guess to go against what I said just earlier, it does have an effect of, it is something alive, and as you can see in the videos, I made a couple of verbal typos, if you will, where, you know, I screwed up my line or wordled my muds, if you will. And that's the thing with a video, you either have to refilm the whole thing or take the bad with the good. Whereas with the paper, it's as easy, you know, backspace, 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 type in the right word. Talking about the text we read about in the class, I guess the one that applies most to what I'm working with here is Bolter and Gruesome, because mainly they're comments on hypermediacy and mediums within mediums within mediums, that kind of thing. Because, let's face it, I'm taking a paper that I wrote on a comic book and putting it on the internet in a video format. So I think that's what comic book, paper, internet, I want to say 4 layers. And a little commentary on that. I don't know. It's really not something I'd thought about when I was making the project. Now that I'm sitting down and thinking about it, it's kind of I don't want to say creepy or eerie, but different. Because I mean, let's face it, back before we really started thinking about using the internet, is you get most 2, a book, and then the paper you wrote on the book. Maybe 3 if you did illustrations or something. But with the internet, with being able to hyperlink to stuff, which I know I didn't do nearly as much as I should have, but that wasn't really my goal in the project. And with this video that I'm posting, it really opens new paths. A couple regrets I had about this project. I couldn't really get the Windows Movie Maker to work very well because I couldn't get the cuts that I wanted to add in like a title card or something, and I couldn't get my scanned images to work, and so as you saw, I had to, you know, hold up the actual book as opposed to posting in just a slide or something with a voiceover. I guess if I had more time, or not saying we didn't have enough time for the project, obviously, if I had, you know, a couple more weeks to work on this thing, I'd try and fix that. Or if I had, you know, somebody who was more adept with computers than me available, I'd say, hey, how do I do this, and get their help. But all in all, I'm happy with the way it worked. It's, again, a bit more personal to hold up the book as opposed to putting up a slide. The other thing, I didn't really get to use the Audacity program because, I'll be honest, it slipped my mind until about 30 minutes ago to try it. And by that point, to be honest, I said, screw it. It's not worth it at this point. But, commenting on making this particular paper into a web-based thing. Well, I mean, I really liked doing it as a video because it allowed me to do things I couldn't do with the regular paper. It allowed me to, first and foremost, joke around a little bit with the camera, which I like doing. There's a reason that I'm the vice president of an improv club, after all. It also allows me to more show, hey, this is what I'm talking about, as opposed to saying, Miller did this on page blah, panel blah, which, you know, I'm fine doing, because like I said, I don't mind writing academic papers, but it feels more alive doing it this way, more, no, not really personal, but you can see the person behind it. I'm not really sure what word I'm trying to use here. Anything else I want to comment on with this remediation thingy? Let's scroll back up in the little prompt and see if there's anything else I'd like to comment on. Obviously, this is a remediation, pulling off a Bolter and Gruesome again, because I did a mediation of my argument about the Dark Knight into a paper, and then I mediated that paper into a video. So, mediating a mediation, that would be remediation. So, yay words. But media are extensions of humanity, according to Nick Lewin. Oh yeah, I'd say that's right. I mean, look at this. You can see me right now on the internet, and I'm a human. At least I hope I am. Let me try it. Yeah, still got a pulse, so I'm still human. But, yeah, that's really about all I've got to say on this. Hope you didn't mind the joking during the reflection, and hope everything turns out alright with the website. Peace.